This summer we went on a 2-week trip to 4 different states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, and visited 6 national parks. Come along on our summer 2021 trip, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos! We decided to fly to Philadelphia. Obviously it is still Corona time, so I made a couple of cute little masks for Luciana for the trip. Bye bye Arizona, see you in 2 weeks! After a long flight with only a little turbulence, we made it to the Philadelphia International Airport. Because Pennsylvania is 3 hours ahead of Arizona, it was late when we arrived, so we headed to the rented apartment for a good night's sleep. We spent the 14th through the 16th in Philadelphia. The first national park was Independence National Historic Park. This is where we got to see Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. We took a tour of Independence Hall, which had 2 rooms, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court Chamber and Assembly Room. Philadelphia was the first capital of the U.S., and this is where the Continental Congress declared independence from Britain. The only original piece is the Rising Sun Chair, which is where George Washington sat. Next, we visited the house of Betsy Ross, where she made the first American flag. We also stopped by Benjamin Franklin's grave to pay our respects to an important founding father and inventor. The original Love statue is in Love Park, but what we didn't know was how small it was. One night we went on a ghost tour around Pennsylvania. Our guide was Frightening Fred, and he took us to some cemeteries and places that people believe are haunted. Do you spot any ghosts in the graveyard? We're also pretty sure that Fred is a ghost. In this picture, he doesn't even have a face! Creepy! The morning of the 16th was spent at the Schuylkill Center for Environmental Education. There were so many hiking trails, and we hiked a couple. We also saw some cute animals like this little snail and a pond full of tadpoles and frogs. After lunch, we went to Valley Forge National Historic Park, our second national park. This is where George Washington's army camped during the winter during the Revolutionary War. On the 17th, we drove to the city of Hershey. Our first stop was the Hershey Story Museum and Chocolate Lab. We first walked through the museum, which told us Milton Hershey's story and all about his chocolate company. A quote from Hershey that I liked was, "Caramels are a fad, chocolate is permanent. I'm going to make chocolate." Because he first started making caramels before finding success in making chocolate. In the chocolate lab, we got to make our own chocolate using cinnamon and chocolate nibs. Yum! They were super delicious. Then we drove over to Hershey's Chocolate World, which is a big store with some chocolate-themed attractions. Our next stop was the American Girl outlet store in Hershey. It was a small store, but we bought a pair of shoes, a dress, and a World Traveler outfit set. On July 18th, we visited Gettysburg National Memorial Park, National Park number 3, where President Lincoln gave his address and battles were fought. Here's the view of the surrounding area atop a lookout tower we climbed. And a wild Catherine? We briefly stopped by Gettysburg National Cemetery to see where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address. A cool place we decided to stop at was Mr. Ed's Elephant Museum and Candy Emporium. The main part was a gift shop and candy store. We found this funky mirror. This guy collects elephants, like everything elephants. Figurines, stuffed animals, sculptures, toys, and even a Dumbo kitty ride. Even though we were sure we had seen everything he owned, a sign told us that only 12,000 elephants are on display from his ever-growing collection. How crazy is that? Since that day was National Ice Cream Day, we decided to stop at the ice cream station to celebrate. Our last day in Pennsylvania started with us going to the MONTOUR Reserve Fossil Pit. Unfortunately, we didn't find any fossils. After a long day of driving, we finally arrived in Cleveland, Ohio. Our first real day in Cleveland was the 20th. National Park number 4 was Cuyahoga Valley National Park. This national park lies along the Cuyahoga River. There were many hiking trails and we saw some cool creatures. We hiked down to Beaver Marsh to see if we could find any beavers. Sadly, we didn't see any. But we did see this cool snapping turtle. We also visited Brandywine Falls. What a majestic waterfall. The next day we visited Lake Erie. It was really windy by the lake. Then we took pictures with the Cleveland sign. Lakeview Cemetery was the next stop because some important people are buried there. This is President Andrew Garfield's tomb. And this is where John D. Rockefeller and his family are buried. And we visited the famous Hasselrod Angel. July 22nd was Zoo Day! The first stop was the rainforest area. Even though we couldn't really see them, here's a binturong. They are mammals that are related to fossas. We also saw a cute prehensile-tailed porcupine, a red-crested turaco, a couple of capybaras, a Brazilian agouti, 2 very loud white-faced whistling ducks, a sleepy anteater, some playful otters, a colony of leafcutter ants, and a Panamanian harlequin frog. This is the first zoo we've been to that has bats. They have 2 different types of fruit bats. After leaving the rainforest area, we headed to the main part of the zoo where we saw elephants, a koala, some wallabies and kangaroos, and a kookaburra.
Go! Almost. Close enough. Are you a kangaroo yet?
On the other side of the zoo was the African savanna section. I took a selfie with some ostriches and Catherine got to feed a giraffe. Then we got to see one of my favorite animals, the red panda! Look at how cute it is! We also saw some interesting creatures like these lemurs, a bush baby, and an eye. Overall, the zoo was so much fun, and if you guys are in Cleveland, we highly recommend going. On July 23rd, we waved bye to Cleveland and set out to visit the American Girl store in Columbus. It was a much bigger store than the one in Pennsylvania. This store had a lot of Courtney items, as well as some new clothing lines and Team USA sets. They even had a new birthday cafe set. On we drove to Dayton, to the Dayton Aviation Heritage National Historical Park, National Park number 5. It is a museum dedicated to the Wright brothers, since Dayton is where they learned to fly after Kitty Hawk. Here's Catherine being a parachuter. They had an additional area for parachuters in the museum. On our last day in Ohio, we visited the National Museum of the United States Air Force. The museum was huge, with aircrafts ranging from warplanes to passenger planes, from helicopters and drones to spacecrafts. We even spotted a few aliens getting out of their spaceship. Our last 3 days were spent in Indiana and Illinois. Our last national park was Indiana Dunes National Park. We didn't find any dunes, but we did stop by a beach on Lake Michigan. It was really cloudy, so we couldn't see the Chicago skyline, but this is what it would look like if we could see it. In Illinois, we visited the Museum of Illusions. It was a really cool place, definitely worth checking out if you're in Chicago. This museum is super cool. In addition to illusions, they have puzzles and interactive exhibits. Last year, our cousins got 2 dogs, Bud and Chase. They're so cute and love to cuddle. Bud is the brown one and Chase is the white one. July 27th, we said bye to Illinois and flew back home. Thanks for watching our adventure!